This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans, so meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining me.
Of course. Nice to be here.
I really appreciate it. So today we're going to start with a game, as usual, get you on your feet, get you excited about Philadelphia, my favorite thing to talk about. So we're going to start with our rapid fire Philly questions. So this is not a quiz. You cannot get anything wrong unless you give a really bad recommendation and I go there and I'm really mad at you for it. But other than that, this is not a quiz. So first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is the first word that you think of when you hear Philadelphia?
Brother.
Brother. That's fair. The city of brotherly love. Even though it is founded on a farce. Fun fact. Like the entire story historically of like brotherly love. But anyway, I still think there's brotherly love and camaraderie here, regardless of the foundation of propaganda that was fed to the area of what brotherly love means. Anyway, what celebrity do you think of when you think of Philadelphia?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, that's really fair. I've gotten that one before. As long as you don't say Rocky, I think that you're good.
Bradley Cooper's another one.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a new one, which is interesting because I would think that people will think about him.
Yeah.
Favorite cheesesteak spot?
I knew that was coming. So pretty close to me it's Delisandro's, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Are you in Manayunk, Roxborough?
No, I'm in Chestnut Hill.
Okay. I am in Roxborough area.
Got it. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, Delisandro's is great. It has a huge line though. The place across the street, Chubby's. I think it's Chubby's, right? Or am I getting?
Yeah, I think so.
Really good. No line ever. Recommend. Maybe not as good as Delisandro's. I honestly have never compared them back to back, but they're both great.
Got it. Okay.
Anyway, just a little. What's one small business you frequent the most?
Oh, that's a great question. Nothing comes to mind, unfortunately. I should get out a little more often.
Yeah, Chestnut Hill has some great spaces too.
Wait, that's not true. Here there is locally to me, and I think they have a few locations in Philadelphia area, but there's a coffee shop that does coffee and whiskey. It's Char and Stave, I believe is what it's called.
Ooh,
so
you going there?
Yeah, it's really, really good. Really good. So there you go.
There is a co-op there's multiple of them in this area. Oh my God, I wish I could remember the name. I'm so bad at that. Anyway, if you look up a grocery co-op, this is like very locally sourced goods. I love going there.
You mean Weaver's Way?
Yes. Thank you. I'm so bad with names. It's like the worst thing ever. I'll go to some place 10 times and I'll never remember. Love that place. Nice. Very, very, very lovely foundation.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place for a drink or a meal? You can't use the previous one.
Right. There's a Northern Italian restaurant in East Falls, and the name is escaping me.
It's okay.
Fiorino's. I think that's it.
Fiorino's.
I think that's it. Yes. I could be botching that, but it is very, very good.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. This is literally selfishly for me to just get to go.
I get it.
If you were to change something about Philadelphia, what would it be?
Change. Fix the potholes.
It's bad here. It's really bad. My theory in Chestnut Hill is that because there's a lot of wealthier people in the area, I think that they just don't want to fix them because they don't want anyone else coming there. They got the big cars, they got the, but they're like, we can get through the potholes, but the people that are coming here can't.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's really bad. Sometimes I think it's worse than the city. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, last one. What's your favorite neighborhood in Philly?
I'm partial to Chestnut Hill. It's sleepy, and I kind of like that. I'll venture into the city on occasion, but I'm partial to where I am. Yeah.
I really like Chestnut Hill. It's beautiful, and it's like so historical. The houses are
Yeah.
gorgeous. They're all different. I love a place like that.
Yep. Agreed.
Well, I think you said you weren't from Philly, but I think that you're very well versed. You had an answer for all my questions. You got stumped a second, but you still answered it. So
I still pulled it off. Yeah.
got it. So it's very exciting for everyone that didn't know. I didn't introduce this, but Matt's company is based in Philadelphia, which is why I asked you these questions. So first, I'd love for you to tell us a little more about yourself, about your professional journey, how you kind of started Greyburn Productions, and what you're doing now and what you look for in the future.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to. So I own and operate Greyburn Productions, which is audio post-production. We do offer original music as well. My journey started long ago. I'm a drummer, and I toured in rock bands, fusion bands, jazz, you name it. And I played a lot, and then I started to get into songwriting, and then I got into composition. So I started writing music for film, commercials, media in general. So that kind of led me to broaden that a little bit and get into sound design. So, including sound effects, ambiances, Foley, etc., for production, for media. So I kind of built out Greyburn to kind of house everything. So we do original music and sound design for media. And one of the areas we're really pushing into is podcasts, doing audio post-production for podcasts.
That's incredible. I mean, that's something that we have to do after our podcast as well. It's definitely heavily involved. I don't think a lot of people think about that element of things. Like post-production audio is something that I think if you're not already well versed in the production world, I think that you don't really think about something that's something that you have to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Audio is very, very important, certainly in podcasting, but across the board. I talking about Philly, I did teach in the film department at University of the Arts.
Rest in peace.
Yes, that was very, very hard last summer when it closed. But I did spend a lot of time there, and I taught sound design and another course called the Art of Sound, and really dove into sound design and how it applies to media. One of the things, I don't know if you can hear a dog howling in the background. Can you hear that?
I can't.
Good. Okay, good. Because I can't. The neighbor's dog is going nuts. So apologies if you're picking that up. It's not me. Anyway, so I was teaching at UArts and really got into sound design and really the effect that sound has on media. And, one of the things, there is a point here. One of the things that I used to teach my students and to kind of show the importance of sound, and in particular music when it comes to media, is I would say, choose your favorite scary movie and put it on and then mute it and then tell me if it's still scary. Now, this isn't new. I mean, people have been saying this for years, but it's a great exercise in understanding how important sound is to everything, really. I would, another example of the importance of sound is what I would have them do in class, is on the way to class is remove their earbuds as they're walking from the train or from their car or whatever, and just listen to the natural world around them, whether it be the city or whether it be out somewhere, to just really get a sense of sonically what's around you and that importance. I think I got a little off topic there, but
No, not at all. I
okay.
think that's something that's really I I think listening to the world is something that's really beautiful that people, because of, music, obviously, which is great. Music is great. But because of the, rise of different earbuds, like AirPods, all of that jazz, I think that it really stopped people from like listening to the world around them. I constantly try to practice not wearing my earbuds when I go out on a walk just to hear the world. Yeah, maybe Philadelphia is a little loud, but there's so many interesting things that you can hear. Like it's kind of like people watching. There's funny conversations that you overhear, or you notice things, or you just hear the birds, the wind, all of these different things that make life beautiful in a way. And I think that it's overlooked a lot of the time how valuable that is.
Yeah, agreed. And there, that also brings up another point of there's a real problem with sound pollution in our world, and it's it's really affecting, in particular, animals and how they operate within our world. So we are polluting a lot, and it's affecting things. So that's something to be aware of too. There's my dog. So hold on.
I can hear the dogs though.
Hold on. All right. Might have to like edit that out. Where? 1 second. Okay, I think he's done. Sorry about that. So sound pollution is a problem, and it's something to be aware of for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that so your podcast demo that you had on your website for The Vanishing Quiet, I thought that was really interesting to add, talking on the subject of sound pollution, is the idea of quiet being implemented into like, I think that people don't think a lot about the element of serenity and very like the fact that sound still goes into creating that kind of ambiance, regardless of whether you think that it's completely like this is silence or that is still an element of audio.
Yeah, that's a good point. And when you're dealing, if you take music for example, well, sound as well, sound design, and you're scoring a film, or you're doing the sound for a film, for example, silence and it can play such a huge role in the overall finished project, or product rather. So leaving room for silence is very, very important when you're dealing with podcast or media as a whole. It's very important. Point taken. Yeah.
I was also thinking, it always makes me think of I had a guest in the past that was telling me about a commercial that is one of their favorites. I think it could have been for Nike. I believe it was for Nike, if I'm where the entire commercial was silent. There was no audio to the commercial at all. And I think that that's something that's so stark in all the noise of you constantly listening to commercials. I think that is very effective in making you look up and realize, oh, something's on, because most of the time, what are we doing during commercials? Like on our phone or doing something, other task or whatever it may be, because no one loves commercials. I think that there are people that love commercials, which is very funny. But I think that something like that, I think that sound or lack of sound is very effective in making you pay attention to something, even something that you wouldn't normally want to pay attention to, like a commercial.
Yeah, 100%. That lack of sound can get your attention. That's used in horror films all the time. Bringing it down to almost nothing can really. And then when when a scare happens, it's more impactful. And you mentioned Nike. They have been for many, many years at the forefront of emotional advertising. They've just really had some incredible advertising moments. One of which was featuring Colin Kaepernick. That was incredible, and like what you're talking about with the silent commercial, to put that out there is pretty crazy, and it's effective, and they've always been very, very good at that. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you dwell on things a little more. I feel like you have silence because it gives you that opportunity to think. Whereas if there's so much noise, especially with the noise pollution now, there's so much going on all the time that silence is almost scary. I think for people, like even in a normal circumstance, especially if you grew up around a house that was constantly playing music, I always think of how my upbringing was, of that there was never really a silent moment in, and if there was, there was something wrong. Like something was wrong in the house. Like there was and I think that's something that's really interesting is silence as a technique is something that makes you uncomfortable. And I think that's very strategic.
Yeah, we're very, very used to sound all the time, always hearing something. So yeah.
I know that we're getting into, you're doing audio and we're getting into silence. So maybe we'll go back to, so having an upbringing as a musician and then going into audio and sound, what do you think is maybe like the most critical thing that you learned as a musician that you put into your work now?
Just understanding emotion, I would say. Music offers the emotional support to a narrative, to a story, and sound also kind of does that same thing. But I think learning how to, when you're talking about, if we're just taking music, for example, and composing music for, say, a commercial or a film, we like to use the word manipulate. I like the idea of the music manipulating the audience, and that's not a bad thing in this case, because if you're working with a director, they're wanting to get a point across, and they want the audience to feel something, sad, happy, whatever the case may be. And music is just a very, very powerful way to manipulate and to do that and support a story. And sound can also very much do the same thing sound design in particular. There's different sounds that can be placed and some of which are just so subtle, but they very, very much manipulate the emotion of the scene and make an audience feel a certain type of way.
Yeah, I think that the psychology of sound design is very similar to the psychology of marketing, at least how I look at it, is the idea that, yes, you are, in a way, manipulating people's emotions for the strategy in which you're doing, but people like that a little bit. Like people want to feel catered to, and they want to feel something, and that's why usually they consume media or content. And so I think that level of manipulation isn't like the evil kind, I guess.
No, yeah.
Convince someone to like something that's bad.
Right. Yeah, you're good. They're buying, an audience is buying, whether it's a commercial or a film, whatever the case may be, but they're buying in. They're saying, let's go for this ride. And music and sound can help just give them a ride. For sure. Yeah.
It's very funny. I think that and it's a great testament to how having experience as a musician and in composition of being able to make something. Music has this thing about it that I think almost everyone can understand, that it can make you feel something that you don't even understand. Like a song can make you feel any kind of emotion when it comes to like nostalgia or sadness or happiness. And with a movie or a level of visual media, I think that it's it's almost underappreciated in the way in which it is effective in furthering your connection to what that is. And I think that you put it perfectly earlier about how if you listen to something completely without the audio off or with the just completely silent, then it's not, it doesn't convey the same amount of emotion that it would without.
Yeah, agreed. I think to your point that it's not appreciated or noticed as much. One of the most underappreciated jobs out there, I would argue, is oh, now it escapes me. The person who places songs in films. Oh, this is embarrassing. I forget the title. It's totally escaping me.
I'm having a brain fart day.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, I'm sure it'll come to me. This is embarrassing. However, this person chooses songs that already exist and puts them in film, and for the impact that it makes. And I think that is an art unto itself. That it goes underappreciated.
No, it really is, because if you think about it, you notice when someone's bad at that. You may not notice, you may not give it enough credit when it's well done, but I think that when it's horribly done, you really notice how bad it is and how much it does matter. Because, for example, even not even musically, but I always think of which is funny, again, we're going back to silence, but A Quiet Place. The first one, I don't know anything about the second one. The first movie, I think for anxiety levels, it was proven as one of like the best horror movies ever made for literally emotional, maybe not for every other part of it, but for how it affected like the heart rate movie. And I think about how, yes, a lot of that element was silence, which obviously the name fixed that, but other elements of sound design that are really important, of just noises in the movie that make you anxious because it's the lack of sound the entire time. And then when that happens, that's terrifying. Or when there's sound finally because there's like a chase because there was a sound made or whatever it may be, that is so stark in the lack of noise, and those things are so important. Whereas if you had a different person doing that, and maybe they added different musical elements to the movie, maybe it wouldn't have made that difference that they were trying to do with the creation of it.
Yeah, and music supervisor. That's it.
There we are.
There it is. It came to me. Apologies.
Appreciated, and you can.
I guarantee there were people listening to this the whole time just yelling. Rather they will be listening to just yelling at me. So music supervisor is who chooses the songs in film. So I feel better now. I redeem myself at least a little bit. So
it's very funny. Obviously, it's kind of ironic to be fair. This is underappreciated, but I
have no idea what it is.
So outside of what you do, I'm so curious, because I think that this comes up a lot, or maybe it doesn't come up at all. You have a very distinctive logo for Greyburn. I would love to know how this was created, like what elements you believe are essential to creating a memorable brand identity for a production company, because I see logos in an incredible scale. I mean, all of us see it in marketing and whatever it may be, or just like on their daily basis. But I am well versed in the logo game, and this is something that stood out to me. I love it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so there is a story behind that logo. Greyburn is actually a character that I came up with when writing some music. Several years ago, I had a writing partner in North Wales, the country, and we were working on production music together. And we would kind of come up with stories to help write music too. And Greyburn and that logo was one of those stories. So Greyburn is a person in this fictitious world, and Greyburn is kind of, think about like a Norseman or a Viking, that kind of thing. Obviously, that's the logo, but that logo was created for Greyburn, and it really stuck out to me. I feel like it really encompasses what I do at Greyburn. When I write music, you've probably heard some of it if you've visited the site, but I tend to write very, very big, cinematic, emotional scores, and very heavy drums and etc. So I really feel like that logo in Greyburn, the character really encompasses that. So that's what the logo is. It's stuck. And I really feel it's a good representation of what the business does. We come in hard and strong, and, with the music and the sound. And, I guess one of the words that come to mind is impactful, emotional, impactful. That's what Greyburn is. And that's the story behind the logo.
Oh, I really love that. I love that a logo has a story.
Yeah.
Someone just didn't sit down one day and create it and they were like, this is it.
Yeah.
No, this is very cool. And I think it's also it is very stark. Like I did notice it in the noise of all the logos that I do see. I do love to comment on something that I see is unique, especially. And I think that with the elements that it has, it definitely does emphasize that what's the word I'm looking for? Like the amount of effort that goes into creating your projects, because they're very I still can't think of the word.
That's just like me earlier.
We're having but it's okay, we're human. The podcast, that's exactly what it's supposed to emphasize. But I do think it emphasizes the character of what you do. That is what I'm looking for. And I do think that I really appreciate a logo that is very on brand, which is very difficult for people to meet. I think a lot of people go for simplicity. And that clearly is not what you went for. And I appreciate that because, again, it stands out in the noise. And, you know that best as an audio.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm very aware of, and I do spend a good bit of time thinking about branding with the business. That part of my brain does get activated, and I pay attention to it because I think it's very, very important as you're building a business. So I do spend time on branding. It is fun. Yeah.
I really like it. It's like a persona, so to speak. I think that's really fun. It's also cool that this character that came out of like Greyburn is a persona kind of as well. I love brand identity because it's like creating a character for yourself almost, but it's an entire model of a business.
Yeah, 100%. It's like if it's something you can really get behind, it can really help drive things. Like I look at Greyburn as being very, very scrappy. I say one of the things I say often is scratching and clawing. And a lot of times when you're starting a business, it certainly feels like you're doing that. And when I look at Greyburn, the logo and the meaning behind it, that's a scrappy force that is scratching and clawing to get somewhere. So it's relatable when you're starting out.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love an actual story behind a brand identity and the way in which someone curates time into creating that, because I do think that it's you don't always see it as much. You kind of a lot of times it's just for audience purposes or maybe, but I love that it showcases who you are very clearly. So speaking of, you mentioned your friend earlier when collaborating. So clearly there is a very collaborative environment in post-production. How do you navigate that? I'm sure that there's like creative differences sometimes. Maybe you're disagreeing on something. How do you think is the best way to navigate this?
Well, I think it's just like with anything, picking the right team. So with me, a lot of the work I do myself. But if it's a bigger project, I'll bring on a team. And, it's just picking the right team having the same goal and the same vision, communicating to that team, leading the team. In art, a lot of times collaboration is excellent. It's a great thing, but it's also very important to have a leader and to help guide the project so everybody's on the same page. And I think by having a leader, that will circumvent a lot of issues with disagreements, etc. So that's what I would say. Having a good team, having a good vision, everybody's on the same page, but really having a leader kind of help move things forward is very important.
What do you think makes a good leader?
Being a good listener. I think that's probably number one so far, is being a good listener.
Yeah, I think
I'll leave it at that.
important to showcase everyone's talents as well. I think that it's very difficult when working with a team to actually hear everyone sometimes. So
Sure.
I think that, the listening part is really, really important.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Well, we are perfectly at time right now, so I'm going to end it here. But I think that this was an absolutely really enjoyable time to get to learn about Greyburn Productions. I really appreciate. I don't get to. I talked to you about this earlier, and I don't get to talk to people in production very often. And I love learning on the podcast. Selfishly, one of my favorite elements of it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening or watching. We'd be nothing without you. So I hope that you get to check out Greyburn Productions and get to check out our other podcasts to learn more like I get to every time. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.